vehicle down, vehicle down.
I'm Garrett Smith, Marine Infantry combat veteran and CEO of Reveal Technology.
I'm Phil, CEO of Jeddoc and veteran of Army Special Operations.
And I'm Jerad, COO of Jeddoc and also a veteran of Army Special Operations.
In the 12-day war, some of the most chaotic moments came when high-priority personnel were moving in vehicles. When those vehicles were hit, they had to react immediately.
Today's scenario is an experiment in how to react to a swarm attack ambush. Now, there are a lot of ways to react to an ambush, but we are using one specific technique so that we can highlight a specific capability, drone-on-drone engagements.
One of the biggest differences in today's BattleLab is the live fire exercise. Live fire training is especially useful for synchronizing real ballistic effects with maneuver, whereas force-on-force training is especially useful for enhancing decision-making and responding to contingencies. In today's live fire, you'll see the enemy represented by still targets and strike drones.
Today's BattleLab is React to Ambush. After recovering the priority personnel in the previous episode, we now need to move them to friendly lines. The team will move the priority personnel in a 2-vehicle convoy. Once ambushed, they must react to transload the priority personnel from the disabled vehicle into the functioning vehicle and carry on with the evacuation.
Scoring is simple. The fastest time wins. This reflects the team's ability to suppress the enemy long enough to transload the high priority personnel and get out of the engagement area. Before a team can dismount, they must destroy any enemy drones loitering. And then they must engage every target twice before they can get off the X.
Each team will conduct 3 rounds for a total of 6 rounds. Let's get into round 1.
We have a roof-mounted camera that we can control from inside the vehicle. We're going to use that as well as all the other people on the team to gain some situational awareness about if there might be some other drones in the area. If we can identify them, then our plan is to get our attack drone up into the air and hunt it. Once we do that successfully, buy ourselves a little bit of time. We need to maneuver the other vehicle up to get that protectee out and or any of the teammates that we have in that down vehicle and get them off the X.
Vehicle down, vehicle down. Vehicle down, vehicle down, vehicle down.
We're pausing an engagement area, sort of as the situation dictates. It's been struck by an unknown enemy drone. We don't know how many more are left. The goal here now is to start identifying what's still out there. What else is a threat?
All right, looks like the smoke's gonna be a no issue.
That rod there, that's just a simple 3D printed rod with a chalk bag. The point there is show an engagement without just crashing a drone and killing the other drone.
Miss, near missed. You're right on top of it. Missed. You were right over the top of him. Ah. Right front, a little bit high. Successful drone engagement. So that initiates the dismount from the vehicle to engage the rest of the targets. The trail vehicle is coming up to conduct the transload.
I got my 3.
And then once those targets are engaged and we have the priority personnel secured, we can move off the X.
Up.
That was the end of round 1 of counter ambush. Initially, we reacted really well to the drone strike on the lead vehicle, but we struggled to get our attack drone up into the air. That's tech for you. We had some battery failures, we couldn't connect to the goggles. Eventually we got it up in the air, and then the even harder part, getting it to hunt the other drone, turned out to be a lot more difficult than our pilot first suspected.
We have to be really efficient. It's not about moving fast, it's about guiding that drone in as quickly as possible, but not too fast, because every miss is going to cost us 10s, 20s of seconds. And then after that, it's all about being efficient about how we engage targets and then transload our priority person.
Red air, red air, red air. Enemy FPV loitering to your right side, 80 to 100 yards out. It's hovering about 100 yards out, right side. You almost hit him. You're just a little high. Good hits, good hits.
We could improve some of our tactics and efficiency with our actual transload of personnel. We moved pretty fast, but at the last second, we had a couple people that misunderstood where they were supposed to go in the exfil platform, so we lost probably 2 to 3 seconds there.
That was Team Alpha and Team X-Ray in round 1, with the times coming in at 3 minutes 4 seconds for Team Alpha and 2 minutes 7 seconds for Team X-Ray. It looked to me like the key point of friction was executing the drone-on-drone kinetic strike. What was Team Alpha's experience in executing that piece of the maneuver?
From end to end, everything from identifying where that loitering drone was to getting our attack drone or counterattack drone prepared and then up in the sky. That took, I would say, significantly longer than X-Ray team. So more rehearsals needed there. And then ultimately, you like that 2 moving objects in the air colliding is an incredibly hard problem that we just didn't solve as fast as they did.
How about Team X-Ray? You beat Team Alpha by a full minute. I gotta believe most of that was made up in the, activating and launching the strike asset and then actually affecting the kinetic strike.
Our success there was a little bit of luck. And then also was our pilot was able, he changed altitude. If you see, like when he initially missed, he was at the same altitude as the enemy drone. And then when he comes back around, he gets more of a top down for the strike, and that allowed him to adjust at the last minute and then come down on the drone most effectively. And I would even say with Alpha's, with their successful engagement, it was the same thing. Like once they had the right altitude and were able to come down on it, that's what was allowed success with it. But overall, to make up with that uncertainty, imagine like solving that with the capability gap. Like how do we fill that capability gap? Add some layer of autonomy, some software solutions on a drone that either through object detection with also some piloting assist makes that drone intercept way easier.
Sure.
And part of that too is now you get another gun in the fight as well. Because as we're going through that problem set, we lost an individual that could be physically securing the priority personnel as well.
Right. That's round 1. Let's see if Teams X-Ray and Alpha are any faster in round 2.
This time we've decided to eliminate the hardest parts of the last iteration, which is the drone-on-drone engagement. We're still going to be in a vehicle, we're still expecting an ambush, and we're going to treat it like an ambush, except we're not going to be waiting on the drone pilot to engage with another drone. So this should go really fast. There should be a lot of fun shooting and a lot of fast movement, and hopefully we can get our time down as low as possible. Scrolling over, shit's gonna bite. I can already tell. Bucket.
Vehicle down.
Vehicle down, vehicle down, vehicle down. vehicle got engaged. We immediately reacted since we didn't have to wait for the drone pilot, getting out of the vehicle, taking up good defensive shooting positions and engaging all the targets. Our support vehicle was up in almost no time at all. And then once the targets were engaged, we got the protectee out of there. I think we can trim some time on that, but all in all, I think it was a pretty good run. We're gonna get one more shot at this, and so I hope that'll be our best one yet.
This is all about tactics and techniques because there's no tech. So for this one, our focus is on engaging targets as accurately and efficiently as possible, and then moving over to our exfil vehicle as efficiently as possible as well.
Vehicle down.
Can you see the third target?
Ah, there it goes. Way off here.
All right, so for round two, we were slow. Ultimately, our marksmanship is what slowed us down. We had sound tactics and techniques, but we needed to engage our targets more accurately and faster.
That's round two for teams Alpha and X-Ray at 1 minute 16 seconds and 1 minute 19 seconds, respectively. Phil, what were the learnings in round two, and what are you planning to do for round three?
For us, you know, it happens, the battlefield conditions change. A large thing that slowed us down was the smoke coming off of our lead vehicle when it's disabled. It obscured one of our shooters, and he had to adjust, and that ultimately cost us, you know, a solid 3 seconds there.
What about Team Alpha? What were the learnings from round two?
So moving different people into different positions in the vehicles ultimately resulted in a much better time for us. I still think we could have done a little bit better, but given the situation, I'm pretty happy with how that turned out.
So at a live fire event like this, counter to ambush, we're expecting kind of marginal improvements over the sequenced kind of runs through the lane. What is the marginal gain from round two to round three? What do you expect, Phil?
How effectively can we get 2 rounds on target? And then the little things like immediately taking the least amount of steps, the least amount of personnel to get the priority person into the exfil vehicle, and then also just load everybody up. That's where we're gonna make those gains, and it's gonna be super minor. It's gonna be seconds.
What do you think with Team Alpha? What are the marginal gains you'll make?
The beauty of doing this type of training is the simplicity of it. We're hyper-focused on making those minute adjustments for speed in that synchronous environment there. And we don't really, there's not a lot of pressure to add a lot of complexity on that. But if we want to. Like if we start bumping up against a limit of improvement and we start seeing the same times or maybe even decreasing times, that would be the time to start adding more complexity on there. Perhaps like using small arms to engage drones in a situation like this. So we're not there yet, but I can easily see us working up to that point.
One of the changes though that we are gonna make going into this next round is the trail vehicle now is gonna get disabled. So we're gonna change the skim maneuver. So we saw those marginal gains for round 1 to round 2. Now adding a little bit of complexity, changing it, is the trail vehicle will be the disabled vehicle, and we'll have to change a little bit of our scheme maneuver with that.
Well, let's see what improvements are in the offing for teams Alpha and X-Ray in round 3.
I'll just say vehicle down if you can put that over the net. Okay. Vehicle down, vehicle down, vehicle down.
No, get in! Oh. This time as we were driving in the convoy, the rear vehicle was the one that got hit. We responded accordingly with the down vehicle. The 2 operators got out and they started engaging targets. Again, we're not doing drone-on-drone engagement for this one. I slammed the lead vehicle in reverse and brought it in close. I think the time was pretty good. We'll have to see how it shook out, but this is a really good and fun and entertaining way to exercise a lot of really interesting SOPs, different types of vehicles, different looks, different types of tech.
Going to round 3, we're going to keep the same tactics, but we're going to focus on improving the speed at which we engage targets and get off the X.
Vehicle down, vehicle down.
Did you get him?
So round 3, way faster than round 2. We were way more efficient with how we move between vehicles, and our marksmanship was much cleaner, and therefore we were able to engage all the targets faster. So overall, a much better run. We were able to improve those tactical techniques in between iterations.
That's round 3 for both teams Alpha and X-Ray. Team X-Ray turning in a time of 1 minute 38 seconds, having missed a shot on one of the steel targets. Phil, having missed a shot but successfully completed the round otherwise, what were your learnings going through this 3rd and final round?
Ultimately, we tried to move fast, and that led to a missed shot, which then is a major penalty. So you just want to find that edge. Engaging targets fast, or as fast as possible, but also doing it in a really effective way and accurate way.
Did you find Team Alpha similarly reached that kind of limit of learning with 1 minute and 5 seconds, which is within just a few seconds of your round 2 time?
Yeah, sure. We can always look at the camera footage and probably find some areas where we can improve. But I think the important part of the training scenario like that, constructing it wise for those guys who are out there coming up with creative ways to keep their troops sharp, is that time constraint. Self-imposing that constraint forces you to make decisions and figure out where you can make small improvements. But you can only do that when you feel that pressure of the clock ticking on you.
That's the 4th scenario for Season 2. In the first scenario, we infiltrated behind enemy lines for cache recovery. In the second, we took out high payoff targets with hidden strike drone assets. In the third, we executed crisis evacuation of priority personnel. And in this 4th episode, we ran a react to ambush drill with those priority personnel in vehicles, encountering a swarm of drone strikes. So let's review the big takeaways from Season 2. Jerad, one of the big learnings that we've been reiterating throughout all of the BattleLab thus far has been the centrality and the importance of infantry tactics, and not to overthink things or not to over-rely on technology. What were your big learnings in that vein?
If you remember back to Season 1, all I had was defensive capability. So first time I get to really, as a leader, a battlefield leader, to employ somewhat offensive and defensive technologies, I underestimated both their capabilities and overestimated how effective they would be. And I learned a ton how it applies effectively to tactics.
And talk to us about filtering in live fire episodes or live fire training with otherwise dynamic force on force work.
If you only ever do force on force, you lose respect for how dangerous this really is. But I think we're in a good position to show that it's not as dangerous as a lot of people in the combat arts really think it is, and there's a right way to go about training safely and effectively, even when employing new tech in those environments. And we're going to continue to show that in future iterations of BattleLab.
Tying it back to the scenarios that inspired this season of BattleLab, specifically the Israeli 12-day war and the Ukraine-Russia conflict, what are we seeing, Phil, in terms of learnings from there, learnings from BattleLab Season 2, and how do they apply going forward?
Yeah, I think really from a tech side, we're just going to see more and more robotics. We're just going to see more and more of integration of software on those robots that gets layers and layers of autonomy.
Something we noticed, especially in the 4th scenario, the ambush reaction, right, was a gap in terms of counter drone technology in the mounted or convoy environment. Can you talk to us a bit about what those learnings were like?
Yeah, I think from a huge gap that continues to exist in the counter UAS space is effects to defeat a drone right on the objective. And one of the ones that's most staring us in the face is mounted, because it's very challenging dismounted because you're obviously limited with what you can carry and the power constraints on that. But from a mounted standpoint, we've dealt with the IED problem before. From a mounted standpoint, you have a lot more power, you have a lot more capability to put things on top of mounted platforms. What we expose there in React to Ambush is, why have we not integrated some of the computer vision models that we have with very cheap, novel sensors, especially cameras, and integrating that in a way that you also have a drone interceptor as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be a drone interceptor, but there's probably, whether you put a crow system with a machine gun or use some entanglement platform, but there's a huge opportunity there to put a system like that that's very easy to go on any sort of mobility platform.
So what we've learned in this season is that the integration gap for certain technologies into otherwise infantry-centric or mounted-centric tactics and techniques is still primary, right, in that training environment. So that's a wrap on Season 2 of BattleLab. The three big learnings coming out of Season 2 are that under conditions of ubiquitous technical surveillance, all mounted and dismounted activities need to be mindful of that as a planning factor, both in the offense and in the defense. The second is that there's a major technology gap or capability gap in the area of counter-drone technology, specifically in the mounted environment, but really for any dismount or mounted activity. And the third is that no matter how roboticized or autonomous or tech-infused the operating environment becomes, the infantry is still central, right? There's still an incredible amount of work and decision-making, ethics, morals, and everything on the line for human beings to be making good tactical infantry-centric decisions in that environment. Join us for Season 3 of BattleLab, where we'll be employing semi-autonomous one-way attack drones and counter-drone technology in the context of U.S. national security problems south of the border.